On the catch. Fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope everyone out there is having a great Thursday. Hope you guys enjoyed what was actually a good Thursday night football game. I mean, easily the best Thursday night football game of the entire season. Every time you turn around, somebody was scoring, making a big play. All kinds of fantasy football implications stemming from this matchup between the Seahawks and the Cowboys that just wrapped up in a good football game. Fantasy, non-fantasy wise as well. Actually a good Thursday night football game. And I was not expecting this game script whatsoever. I mean, this Seattle pass defense has been pretty good this year. They didn't really give up a ton yardage or touchdowns last week. Seattle looked just like a deer in headlights last week against the Niners. I thought this Dallas defense would show up in similar fashion this week. Man, just a complete shootout, which I can't be mad at. That's good for just about everyone's fantasy lineups, but not so good if maybe like you bench DK Metcalf for your 3 touchdowns, you bench Zach Charbonnet based on the matchup, who put together like almost 20 fantasy points in full PPR. Lockett, full PPR, okay tonight. Geno Smith, a huge game. JSN came out pretty well from this game as well. All the Cowboys players, essentially, similar to last week, showed up. Ferguson scored a touchdown. Lamb scored a touchdown. Cook scored a touchdown. Pollard scored a touchdown. Dak had another great game. So, I mean, actually thankful that we got a good Thursday night football game. But, man, I just really did not expect this type of game. I mean, I don't think, necessarily too many people out there expected this type of game script. But, man, happy we got it on Thursday night. So let me know how tonight's game affected you guys. Let me know who you had up against you, because if you had like CeeDee Lamb or if you had Metcalf, I don't know. It might be a little tough sledding going into the week. You might have to play for a little bit of upside as compared to playing for floors. But I mean, I just seriously can't say it enough. I'm so happy that we actually got a good Thursday night football game. But man, I know that I personally was not very high on a couple Seattle players, so I'm interested to see what type of decisions you guys out there made. But nonetheless, there's a very long intro talking about how much I enjoyed the game tonight. You guys know what we're here for. Fantasy Q&A, Week 13 Fantasy Q&A, whatever you guys need, start sits, adds drops. What defense do you guys need to start? What defense do you guys need to stash? Are you still trading? Dynasty trades? Are you contending? Are you not contending? You guys in the playoffs? You guys out of the playoffs? Roster reviews? Whatever you guys need. I'm here to help you guys to the best of my abilities. So, per usual, let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football, ladies and gentlemen. Emil, good to see you. What's going on? Hello. Hope you're doing great, man. McDouble, should I start Zach Moss or Tank Dell? Is Keenan Allen going to play? I personally think Keenan Allen will play. I mean, if you look throughout this season and past seasons, Keenan Allen has a lot of these, throughout the weeks, up and down. I mean, and this is a straight up veteran. Like, if he doesn't want to practice throughout the week, he doesn't have to, and he can still suit up Sunday and do his thing. So until he's listed as out, I'd roll with him. And, Tank Dell's also popped up on the injury report this past week, but I'm not worried about Tank Dell either. If Tank Dell's good to go, you start Tank Dell, you start Keenan Allen. If you can't start one or the other, then Zach Moss is a perfectly fine start. And I do like him as well going into the weekend. But I would roll Tank Dell and Keenan Allen. Or I'd roll Tank Dell and not be worried about Keenan Allen. He should be good to go. Ghost Hunter, finally, football gods gave us a good Thursday night football game. I know, man. You're telling me. Good to see you, bro. What's up? Caleb, what's up? Brees Hall, Godwin, or Cooper? I think we said, yeah, we did talk about this last night, but it's really a toss-up between Brees Hall and Chris Godwin, like whoever you feel better about. They're kind of both floor plays. I might go Brees Hall. It's not a great matchup for him, but, he's one of these guys who can kind of show up in bad matchups too. So Godwin's been fine this year, but the past couple of weeks, he's hasn't really been as involved. I'd probably go Brees Hall. I don't really feel good about Amari Cooper right now, and he might not even play. So it's not really. I don't feel good about Amari Cooper. I don't feel good about his quarterback situation. Dom, trust my gut. Kept Dak in there. Let's go. Got 15 from Brandon Aubrey and Pollard too. Hopefully, I can sneak into the playoffs. Let's go. Hope you guys rolled with the Cowboys tonight. Olrak, good to see you. Glad I stashed Charbonnet for 2-week rental. Now I'll drop him. Might be worth holding on to either way. Maybe, with him showing up tonight, maybe that he gets a little bit more involvement even when Walker is back. So maybe he's a great handcuff at the end of the day, right? Anakin, Taylor, and Kadon are out for me. My season might be over. 6-6. You never know. 6-6 is not the end of the world, man. Set the best lineup possible. Cross your fingers. That's tough. That's two, very dependable RB1s that you can throw in your lineup. So that's a big loss. Tua just wasn't cutting the fantasy for me. I had to swap Dak out. I mean, I still think Tua is going to have a huge game. This Washington secondary has been so bad this year. But hey, yeah, if you guys trusted Dak tonight, which I did not trust Dak, but if you had other options and you went with Dak, then congrats. Shot Dallas scored 40 plus and didn't cover the spread. Yeah. I had a bad feeling about the spread tonight. Honestly, in both directions. So I had belief in Dallas winning this game, but I didn't really like the spread. 9.5 can be kind of tough. So put against Dak and Lockett might hold on down. Let's go. Taylor out the rest of the season. I don't think that there's been a clear indication on that quite yet. I'll double check here. Should be able to return in 2 to 3 weeks. So you might get him back against Atlanta in week 16, then versus the Raiders in week 17. There is a chance that the Colts, they're technically in the playoff hunt. So if that is starting to heat up, then that's definitely something to pay attention to, because in that scenario, you probably get maybe more potential involvement from JT at the end of the season. Olrak, Goff, or T-Law? This is close, actually. I think both are kind of just good floor plays for the week. I'd probably go Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars been kind of rolling the last 2 weeks. The Bengals defense has not been great. I would probably go with T-Law. I think Goff is okay. He's on the road against the Saints, though. Jags are at home. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence. I like the Jaguars this week a lot. Mr. Sarcastic, what's going on? I'm him in all the Catch Fam leagues. I feel like so many of the leagues are still so wide open right now that I haven't paid a tremendous amount of attention to the number one standings. But I know you've been doing well this year, so I know I've lost to you, I think. CeeDee Lamb, AT per usual. He's a wide receiver 1. Rest of season, no. Maybe Tyreek. I'd probably still put Tyreek over him. And I still think AJ Brown CD, AJ Brown is pretty close. But AJ Brown just kind of coincidentally really cooled off for a game or two, and CD's just been killing it. The Cowboys will play Philly, great matchup. You expect points in that one. Then they're at Buffalo, good matchup. You expect points there. At Miami, that'll be an interesting matchup, but you expect points there. Then they get Detroit in week 17. If you play through week 18, they get the Commanders, which, on paper, you might be saying that game's not very important, but there could be definitely a race for playoff seeding still. So divisional opponent is important. So, yeah, man, the rest of CD could very well be the wide receiver 1 or 2 the rest of the season. I don't think that's crazy to say. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been playing great. He's potentially up there. Tyreek Hill is still, obviously, I still think you have to go with as number 1 guy. Then Justin Jefferson's potentially coming back. Stephon Diggs is still right outside the top. He's the wide receiver 5 currently, coming off a big game against Philly. The bye week, which will kind of hurt his standings. But, yeah. And then, we didn't really talk about Metcalf, but Metcalf's been such a floor play all season long. I mean, he hit 20 points in week 11, but other than that, 17.2 in week 3, 16.8 in week 10, and outside of that, 13.7 or less points. I mean, 37.4. I'm not putting him in the same conversation as the guys we just talked about, but man, I mean, he's been just absolutely killing it. DJ Moore, the wide receiver 7 who was on a tear before Fields got hurt, has a great since Fields has returned, is at 22.4 more points. I mean, there's a lot of dispute about who is really going to be the wide receiver 1 the rest of the season. So, and I feel like I'm honestly forgetting somebody as well, but yeah, we'll see. A lot of good names out there, but I mean, I really don't think it's crazy when you look at the Cowboys' upcoming matchups to say that it could be Lamb, but I think he just out of what Tyreek brings to the table, it's still Tyreek right now. But tough to say. All right, Sam Howell or T-Law? I'll go. I do like Sam Howell this week. I think he's sneaky, but I'll probably stick T-Law here. I'll say T-Law for a floor, Sam Howell kind of for upside, more risk, but upside for sure. What's going on, Tommy? Man, Lamb, balled out for you. Played JSN, he did decent. That catch was a touchdown by JSN. I thought it was. I agree. I faced Metcalf my home league, but still confident. Did I have CeeDee Lamb against you? I guess I did. But, I mean, like, even if you're going into the week with a big performance against you, I mean, don't act like it's not the end of the world. I mean, you saw so many games last week, like, happen on Thanksgiving Day, a lot of points scored on Thanksgiving Day, and still, I mean, I was in a league where I was projected to win by like 20 points because I had Charbonnet, Ayuk, and I don't remember the other player just did not show up. And Ayuk played okay, but like even with the touchdown, only had like 11 or 12 points. And yeah, come the end of Sunday, I was projected to lose by like 10 points. So, yeah, it looks like I had Ferguson and Lamb against you, which is not bad. And yeah, JSN got you 13 points, and you had Dallas's kicker 15 points against me. So I don't think it's too far off. We'll see what happens, man. And yeah, having Metcalf against you, it doesn't feel good right now, but till Sunday Night Football wraps up, don't get too worried. I know Monday night is a thing, but you'll get a better idea by that point. My Superflex League, I'm 6-6 in contention for a lower playoff spot. Had CD against his Charbonnet tonight. If I beat him, I eliminate him from playoff contention. Let's go. Godfather, good to see you. What's up, dude? What's up, Albert? Good to see you guys. Also nice to see Cooks being consistent, but I sat him. Dude, every time Brandon Cooks does something, I think of you, Tommy. I'm like, let's go. I thought you were starting him. I thought that was one of the questions last night. I thought for sure you started him. I was so excited. When will you know if Olave can play or can't play? I mean, with that being a concussion, we might get a better idea. Like Saturday, but I don't want to say for sure. Hard to say, man. Between now and Sunday, I hate to be that guy, but we'll see what happens. Josh, he wins this. My team is Zappy, Jones, Mostert, Tyreek, Dortch, Kelsey, Kirk. It's a pretty decent team for 20 teams. His team, Young, Spears, Moss, Evans, Thielen, Laporta, A.J. Brown. I like your team overall more, but I do think Bryce Young will outscore Bailey Zappi. I mean, I'll take Jones over Spears, Mostart, Moss. I'll probably still lean Mostart. I'll take Tyreek over Evans. I like Evans a lot. Dortch, Thielen. I don't know. Dortch is looking like the Cardinals going to be down a couple wide receivers. I kind of like him this week against Pittsburgh. Take Kelsey over Laporta. Not sneezing at Laporta, though. I'll take A.J. Brown over Kirk. So I don't know. It could go either way, but I do like your team. Got Lamar and DJ on bye and JT injured. That's a good team for a 20-team league. He's got Allen out. That helps you a lot. The number 1 and number 2. Okay. It's probably going to be close, but I'll lean. I like your team, actually. Yeah. Picked up Rogers in the Yahoo League where I'm 9-3 and firmly in the playoffs just for the memes. Got to do it. Vincent, what's going on, bro? Good to see you, man. What's up with Charb's knee? Yeah, so he went to the medical tent, obviously. Kind of hard to speculate at this point, but hopefully it's nothing big, right? When he starts to get going, right? Actually showed up tonight as opposed to last week and then didn't get game scripted out, right? All we really know right now is that he suffered a knee injury, and like literally that is the full extent of the report that we have. And then he went to the medical tent. So we'll have to wait and see, man. We probably won't know until tomorrow. So not much we can do. Man, the Seahawks are at San Francisco next week. Then they get Philly. Then they're at Tennessee. Forgot how brutal the upcoming matchups are for running backs on the Seahawks. Hawk on by. Everyone in the league has 2 tight ends. Who should I start? Pitts, Higbee, Auden, Everett, and Conquo. Man, I just roll with Kyle Pitts. Just cross your fingers. It's one of those Kyle Pitts games. Kate Otten's okay if you don't like that. Higbee, like I don't think he's going to do what he did last week. He gets the Browns. Tough. I'd probably just pray to the Kyle Pitts gods. How do you hear about Singletary these next couple of weeks? Going to need him in the flex. You think Pierce takes more of his volume away? I mean, I am on record saying that I was not worried like whatsoever about Devin Singletary, and I'm not overly worried necessarily, but you know, you look at last week, you still have to, admit, or I have to admit that Dameon Pierce still got touches, 5 touches, 1 target, 1 reception. On the other hand, Devin Singletary had 6 touches, but much more involved in the pass game. 7 targets, 6 receptions for Devin Singletary last week. So I'm okay with Singletary. I still do feel like he is the lead back, but I feel like Dameon Pierce can slowly be crept into this mix. But I still think Singletary gets the bulk of the carries. They get Denver this week. Good matchup. They get the Jets next week. Good matchup. I think you can start them in those 2 matchups. Then they're at Tennessee, Cleveland, Tennessee. That's a little bit more murky there. But I think these next 2 weeks you can definitely roll with them. But I think Pierce will still get a couple touches. But I think Singletary, I don't know, just has kind of fit that backfield a little bit better. What's going on, Alex? Changed my account here. Been wanting to add Debo. Yes, I was not ignoring your DM on Instagram. On Discord, sorry. Got Diggs, Waddle, Monty, Mike Evans, ETN, Rashad White, Zach Moss just added. Tank Dell, wanting to know who to drop, if anything, to get Debo. You just dropped Metcalf, right? I would not worry too much about dropping Metcalf in this style of league. Like, you obviously have other options here. Metcalf balled out tonight, but I don't know if he's going to necessarily hit that ceiling at all once again this year. So, let's see here. Diggs, Waddle, Monty, Evans, Etienne, White, Zach Moss. If it's anyone, it's Zach Moss. I still think he's fine. I mean, but you're probably starting Monty, Etienne, Rashad White over him. I would start all those guys over him this week. If it's anyone, it's Zach Moss. But I mean, you got Diggs, Waddle, Evans, Tank Dell. Like, you really just have to kind of look at it and see, like, or to kind of decide, like, would you rather have the additional running back in Zach Moss or the additional wide receiver in Debo? It's close here. I might lean Debo because this Niners team going to be in some important matchups coming up here. They get Seattle next week, obviously Philly this week. Then Arizona, Baltimore, Washington. They're going to be right up there fighting for playoff seeding. So I think I do lean Debo. But if you wanted to keep the running back depth, I don't think it's awful necessarily. But yeah, you're basically deciding wide receiver depth or running back depth. I think either is okay. Full PPR, Puka or Ford in the flex. I mean, I feel like Jerome Ford will get you like a solid 10 points. Like a really boring 10 points, and you just take it. You know, um, I'd probably just go Jerome Ford. It is kind of a tough matchup against the Rams, and then vice versa for Puka. It's a tough matchup against the Browns. So Puka really hasn't actually done a whole lot the last couple weeks. Puka Ford or A Chain. I go A Chain. Give me the upside. Why not? If you're worried about A Chain and the injury concern and everything, going up against Commanders, a bad run defense, I like the upside. But if you're worried about it, you can go Jerome Ford. He's a good floor. Not much of a ceiling, but good floor option. My line for this week is Pickett, Hill, Pickens, Algier, Gainwell, Laporta, Taysom, Pittsburgh's D, and Indy's kicker. I mean, that's fine. It sounds like what is like a 20-man, 16-man league. If this is the best he can roll with, then this is the best you can roll with, right? Aaron Jones, Cooper, or Shaheed this week. I probably would go Aaron Jones if everything looks good there. They're at home. It's a tough matchup against the Chiefs. Maybe if we get word that more of these Saints wide receivers aren't playing, you could go Shaheed against the Lions. I don't mind that. I just don't really feel good about Amari Cooper this week. Seahawks would have won if they threw to Jake Boba. They did a little bit. He almost he got stopped on third down. Eddie, what's up, man? Pick 3. Amon-Ra, Cup, Amari, Downs, Noah Brown. Should I drop any of these guys to get more running back depth? Have JT Swift, A-Chain, Wilson. Options are Roshan Spears and D'Ernest. You're definitely starting Amon-Ra. Man, this is one of those weeks I might bench Cooper Cup and Amari Cooper. But I don't know. Like, now I feel so weird about this week with DK Metcalf having 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys, I do like Josh Downs this week. It's a good matchup for him. He's a safe play. Cup and Amari Cooper both have bad matchups, but they're also both banged up. So you can start them. I mean, good wide receivers sometimes, whether they're injured or not, whether they have bad matchups or not, still go off. If you want to go Amon-Ra, Cup, Amari, I don't blame you. But I'm pretty worried about Amari Cooper and Cup. Downs is a good option if you have to start him over one of those guys. I would not drop any of these players for any of the players out there on the waiver. Like maybe Roshan Johnson, but I wouldn't even feel great about that. I think you hold as is, but that is a tough call at wide receiver. You're probably gonna have to give it another day or two because we need to get a little bit of a better update on Cooper Kupp and Amari Cooper. Dolphins defense or the Eagles? Dolphins. I don't trust the Eagles this week. No way. Chiron, Eckler, A-Chain incoming from my home league. Please pop off all at once. I'm crossing my fingers for you, man. Good chance with those guys. Thought about subbing Cooks in for Downs, but couldn't, in good faith, substitute a wide receiver playing against Tennessee. That's fair. Seattle's pass defense has not been bad all year long until tonight. I'm playing St. Brown, Waddle, Chiron, Eckler, Flex is Dell, A-Chain. Hopefully, if not, I'll throw C-Watt in. But yeah, Cooks is our guy, bro. He's our guy. See, they flexed the Seahawks Philly to Monday Night Football. Yes, I did. You should go. Andrew, how are you doing? Good to see you. Pitts plays for Arthur Smith. I go Everett. That's fine too. That's fine. Dak is the man. Schultz playing. I don't know if we have an update on Dalton Schultz yet. Certainly hope that we get one. Got him in a couple leagues, but yeah, he's missed practice. Still has that hamstring injury. If he plays, it's a really good matchup against Denver, man. If he's a no-go, pick up Pitts, Otten, or Thomas. I mean, I think you can roll the dice with Kyle Pitts. Second time has come up tonight. It's risky. I do agree with that. But I like Otten as kind of just like the safe play here. Logan Thomas, Kate Otten, like they're kind of in the same boat, right? Just kind of these guys that like might be involved this week, might not, might get red zone looks, might not. It's just such a gamble at the position sometimes. So, I mean, I kind of agree with Ghost Hunter here. Whoever you like best is fine. Casey, what's up? Got lucky, started DK due to week 13 buys. Let's go. Have ETN, Monty, Breeze, Connor, A-Chain, Pittman, Garrett Wilson, Puka. Leaning towards ETN, Monty, Connor, and Pittman. Yes, that is what I would do. But you could go A-Chain over Connor if you want to kind of go for upside. I still think you can start Garrett Wilson if you want to. I don't think he's necessarily out of the mix here, but Connor's been getting good volume. It's just like he's not necessarily finding the end zone, but the Steelers haven't been great against running backs this year, so I think that's fine to do. Need 2 running backs, a wide receiver, and a flex. So you got to go ETN and Monty for sure. I agree with you there. I might go. You definitely go Pittman. Pittman should not be a question. Pittman should be your wide receiver too. With DK already having a big night, I might just throw A-Chain in there if he's good to go and plays. I might just throw A-Chain in there and take the upside. But you're in a good position here. Going into this matchup, you have a little bit of an advantage. So it's a standard league. I might go A-Chain there. But yeah, use that to your advantage. I probably wouldn't go Garrett Wilson if it's standard. I probably wouldn't go Puka. So I do think putting a running back in the flex makes the most sense. So Brees, Connor, you're kind of going for the floor. If you want the upside, go for Devon A-Chain. But I would definitely go ETN, Monty, and Pittman for the rest of your spots there. Playing around with running backs right now. Grab Doodle in case nothing happens. So I dropped and grabbed Dearness Johnson. ETN's banged up. If he plays, I'll grab Rashawn. Nothing wrong with that, man. What's going on, man? I'm in a must-win situation. Pick 3 running backs to start. Eckler, Bijan, Kyron, Moss. Ooh. I would personally play Eckler, Bijan, and Kyron. I would. I mean, I like Zach Moss a lot this week. And listen, I mean, Zach Moss, when JT was out, was absolutely killing it. So I don't think he's a bad start by any means. But I just feel like there's so much potential upside with the rest of these guys. For what it's worth, I mean, Zach Moss had 33.5 points in week 5 against Tennessee at home. This week they're on the road, but I would personally start Eckler, Bijan, and Kyron. I just don't think you can bench those 3 guys right now. I just don't think you can bench them. And I think at the end of the day, you can still bench Zach Moss. You know what I mean? So definitely a tough decision, but man. Opponent had Dak and Lamb. You both have an advantage going into the week. His quarterback and wide receiver 1 played well. Your quarterback has not played yet, but your wide receiver 1 also played well. So it could be worse. You're welcome, man. Happy to help in any way I can. Should I trade away T-Law and Zay Flowers, for CJ Stroud and Jordan Addison? PPR, I know JJ is coming back. I just really want Stroud. I would do it. Sure. I mean, I'm as big of a T-Law stan as there is out there. But I would still do this. I'd far rather have CJ Stroud right now. And, he's consistently in these matchups and game scripts where he's being forced to throw the football. It's been this way all season long, and the Texans are not going to change that. So, and I still think Zay Flowers versus Jordan Addison might be a little bit closer than one might think. And I actually think Addison will benefit from JJ returning. If you kind of look at a lot of those big games early in the season, JJ was out there, and that allowed the Vikings to draw more plays up for Jordan Addison, right? Less defensive pressure on him because he's not the wide receiver 1. So I still like Zay Flowers, but I know Flowers coming off a big game, but he hasn't really had a super high ceiling throughout the year. So yeah, I do this, sure. What's going on, Aggie Rhythm? Good to see you, bro. If Schultz is healthy, we're starting him over Logan Thomas. Yeah, you just have to. It's a good matchup. Once again, going back to the Texans, like they're going to throw the football. So, yeah, you have to. I know he's coming off a stinker game, but you really, if you own him and he's your guy, you got to roll with him. Oh no, the 1 week I need Dallas D to do their thing. They're the worst game of the season. I actually didn't really think about this going into tonight's stream. Yeah, a lot of you guys out there, I mean, like you have to start Dallas's defense every single week. Just too much upside to bench them, right? Yeah, definitely a couple of you guys out there, you probably got hurt by this one, man. I don't own them in any leagues. Just didn't happen for me this year. So, dang. But hey, it's not over till it's over. A lot of games left, right? What's going on, Heat Lifer? Thoughts on Warren and Pickens this week against Arizona? I got to play them due to bye weeks. I like both of them. I especially Jalen Warren. Like we look at what Kyron Williams did last week, big against Arizona, right? But Royce Freeman also had a really big fantasy day. I don't see any reason why both Jalen Warren and Najee Harris can't have good fantasy outings at home against the Cardinals this week. This run defense has just been awful. It's probably, technically, oh no, they have dropped down. They've dropped down to they're giving up the most fantasy points. They've surpassed the Panthers and they have surpassed the Denver Broncos. So, yes, I don't really care who the running backs are. You should be starting them against the Cardinals. Now, Pickens, on the other hand, might be a little bit trickier. It's not a bad matchup by any means. I mean, the Cardinals are still, let's see here, they are giving up the 8th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So, like, that doesn't hurt whatsoever either. But Pickens himself has been very volatile, right? Pretty decent target share for both Pickens and Deontay last week. So, there's that. But, yeah, if you don't have better options, which you have to bear in mind here, great matchups for both these guys. And you just kind of have to go with that, right? All right, let's see. Was it a bad idea to drop the Jets defense for Dolphins? Jets defense is strong, but they're always on the field. I don't think it was bad necessarily. No. I mean, the Dolphins have a lot of good upcoming matchups, but yeah, the Jets are still a defense 8. They showed up against Miami. I mean, obviously the big defensive play and everything. If you take that out, then not so great of a fantasy day, right? But I mean, they're okay against Atlanta, but then they get Houston, Miami, and even Washington. I don't feel great about necessarily. Then they're at Cleveland in the championship, which is probably okay. But this Jets team, I don't have a good feeling about them wrapping up the season personally. So I don't think it's a bad move whatsoever. I really don't. Now, Miami's defense, on the other hand, here, interesting couple of matchups coming up, right? We're at Washington. I don't think this is anything to sneeze at in terms of a matchup, but I do think they're a startable fantasy defense this year or this week. They get Tennessee, they get the Jets, bad matchup against Dallas, bad matchup against Baltimore. So you're really starting them for the next 3 weeks. So just bear that in mind. Week 16 and 17, you probably don't want to start them. Ayuk, Nico, or Cooper need to bench one. It's Cooper. I mean, even if Cooper plays, it's still Cooper over these two guys. Don't think twice about it. I mean, he's banged up. Quarterback play is poor. Ayuk, great matchup. Nico, it doesn't even really matter. Like the Texans are just going to throw the football a ridiculous amount of times, but even then, it's a good enough matchup against the Broncos, who have been better against the pass lately. But be interesting to see how they utilize Pat Surtain this week. Does he line up purely on one wide receiver? Does he float? He might be lined up on Nico, which is something to look out for, but I still go Ayuk and Nico. Cats, what's up, dude? How do you feel about Singletary this week? So we talked about that a little bit earlier in the stream tonight, and I'm good with him. It's a good matchup. I think you continue to roll with him. I feel pretty good. I don't really feel like I think Damon Pierce can get like 5, 6 touches, get target or two, and maybe that starts to move up throughout each week. But this week against the Broncos, this week against the Jets, I still think Singletary's the lead back, and I'd feel pretty good about starting him. So I'm not too worried personally. How do you feel about Justin Herbert rest of the season? You got to start Herbie if you own him. I mean, yeah, it sucks. Like, not a lot of help on this offense. Not a great offensive line. Um, I mean, the rumors going around now are that the Chargers are just going to completely clear house after this season. And frankly, like, what else are you supposed to do? Like, Justin Herbert's your starting quarterback. You're last in the division. Like, you got to build around this guy, right? Way, way too talented. But that's kind of what the Chargers have done with not just quarterbacks, but Junior Seau, LaDainian Tomlinson, you can name probably a couple other players, right? But yeah, Philip Rivers in there too, right? Anyways, they got to just clean house. But I don't think that's anything negative in terms of Justin Herbert for the rest of the season. So um, I'm good with him. I don't really care what the matchup is. He is still, I mean, I know it was a bad matchup, but he had Baltimore, and bad fantasy performance, but it's Baltimore. I'm not worried about last week. He's still the quarterback 5 in fantasy. So I think he's good to go, man. All right, guys, we made it to the bottom of the chat. So if you guys need anything, be sure to go ahead and throw it in. And I don't know, maybe we'll run a little bit of a shorter stream tonight because it is pretty late here. But yeah, if you guys need anything, be sure to throw it on in the chat. Let's check the news real quick for the day because I didn't hit that at the beginning of the stream. But obviously, Zach Charbonnet injured in tonight's game. We'll see what we get from that. T. Higgins is expected to play in Monday Night Football against the Jags. Interesting development. I've been saying for a week or two, like, I don't blame T. Higgins if he doesn't play for the rest of the year, but he should be out there, which is always good to see, right? Decent matchup for him, but what are we going to get out of the quarterback position? I don't know. Zach Ertz requested a release from the Cardinals and was granted a request from the Cardinals to be released. So rumors out there are keep an eye on the Eagles and the Ravens. Could both be potential landing spots with Dallas Goedert still banged up, although he's rumored to have a chance to play this week. And obviously Mark Andrews out for the Ravens. So could be interesting there. Keep an eye on Zach Ertz. Other than that, we don't really have any news for the day. I mean, we talked about Jonathan Taylor yesterday. The update right now is they're hoping he can return in 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens there. Other than that, nothing. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is trying to come back this year, which is interesting. Thanks, Casey. You're a G. Cats, missed the beginning of the stream. We talked about the JSN breakup briefly. But I feel like, for me, this wasn't really like a breakout game. But he played good. I mean, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 62 receiving yards. But I feel like that game against Arizona is when we, kind of realized, like, oh, JSN might actually be fantasy relevant this year. And Seahawks may actually decide to get him involved. You know what I mean? 16.3 points in that game, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 63 receiving yards, and a touchdown, and then scored a touchdown the following week. But I will say, in terms of pure volume, this was JSN's best game for sure. And you had a lot of specific plays and looks where Gino was using the advantage of more defensive pressure being on Lockett and Metcalf and looking for JSN specifically. So I do think it was definitely a very positive game for JSN. Except for my Huskies tomorrow versus Oregon, college playoffs on the line. Maybe I'll try and actually watch some college football this weekend. Stash Josh Palmer. You can. Sure. I mean, when he comes back healthy, the Chargers are going to have to utilize him. They can't utilize Quentin Johnston. So you're saying drop this guy named Kelsey for Ertz? For sure. That's exactly what I'm saying. Lost JT. I need a running back bad. Would you trade JJ for ETN? That's a loaded question. Excuse me, Chris. Um, really depends on the entire roster. Really depends on the entire roster. JJ for ETN in nature is not a fair trade or a good trade, but maybe depending on the roster. Sure. I mean, ETN's still a top 5 back on the season. Start 3 of these 5. Bijan, Caron, Rashad, Pacheco, Stevenson. Oh, that's so. I probably go Bijan, Chiron, and Rashad White. But I really like Pacheco this week, and I still think Stevenson is definitely startable this week. But Rashad White against the Panthers, you have to start. Chiron, not a great matchup, but he's at home. You got to start him. The Browns defense been a little bit wishy-washy lately, and you know me, I'm starting Bijan every week, and the Jets' run defense has been bad. So I go with those guys. Got to wait to see the snap reports, but seemed like he played more in 2 receiver sets. But he was one bad call away. That's true. He really was a touchdown. So that's a good point. But yeah, like I said, I think it was a very positive game for JSN at the end of the day. Pirine or Miles Sanders need a running back for week 13. Pirine, for sure. Good matchup. He's been involved lately, both on the ground and through the air. That hasn't really been consistent, but one way or another, he's been involved. I like him this week. If you need this like a flyer at running back, Pirine, a guy still available on the waiver for a lot of people, I like him. I might be forced to start him in a league or two. Good option with all the bye weeks. All right, guys. So we are at the bottom of the chat. So we'll go ahead and wrap up early for tonight because it's late. But I will be back on tomorrow with Pete from After the Review, and we'll stream for a good bit tomorrow. Then I'll be back Saturday night. So if you guys have anything come up, you need anything, you can drop a comment on today's stream down below, or you guys can hit me up on Discord. Just be sure to tag me so I get the notification. But thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Of course, as always, thank you guys for the fantasy questions. Really appreciate you guys allowing me to try and help you guys. And hopefully you guys had a lot of Cowboys and Seahawks players in your lineups, and hopefully they weren't against you. But I'll be back tomorrow. Let me know on Discord in the comments. Like I said, if you guys need anything in the meantime. And thank you guys for hanging out tonight. If you guys are new to the channel, hope you guys consider subscribing. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Other than that, hit the like button, just like Ghost Hunter says. Check out the links down below, Instagram, Discord, all that stuff's down there. And I appreciate you guys. Final 2 weeks, must win my home league. 4 of us tied for 4th. Have a good night. We're crossing our fingers for you, Tommy. All right, guys. Love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fan. I will talk to you guys soon. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch.